Welcome back to Bluebird Territory presented by Miller Lite. A little context, we are filming this before the Tigers finale, but there was some news with Vladdy moving up in the order, Adam Macko getting activated, so we're recording now, releasing this before the Yankees series, but if anything happens in the Sunday finale and we don't talk about it, that is why. So we will get right into it. We're going to take flight with the big change. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., big change, I say. He's moving up one spot in the batting order, but you guys have been around Vladdy. I've been around Vladdy for a couple years now. He is not shy to say that he loves hitting third. He wants to hit third. John Schneider jokes about it all the time, being like, yeah, I would love to hit him second, but Vladdy's our three-hole hitter. But he is hitting second now after quite a skid. He's hitting under 100 in his last, I think it was 10 games or so. It doesn't look good. It's a lot of ground balls. Kevin, we'll start with you here. As someone who had, I jotted it down here, 91 plate appearances in the second hole, 79 in the third hole. What is the difference there? Or is there a difference? Is this purely a mental move for Vlad?
No, it's a mental move. There's really not a big difference of kind of where you hit in the lineup, especially when you're in that upper, middle part of the order. Anywhere between second and fifth there's not really a big difference. It's more about pride at that point. When you're the number 3 hole hitter, which I got a chance to do, quite frequently during my time with San Francisco. I got hot and Bochy just kind of wrote the hot hand and I was hitting third, and mentally it made me feel like I was the best hitter on the team. I was the guy. For the longest time, the 3-hole hitter was the best hitter in the lineup. The game has changed a little bit. Think about the time when I was in Toronto, 2015, Josh Donaldson was our number 2 hitter. He was the league MVP that year. There's been many years where Aaron Judge was batting second in the order as well, too. And the numbers would tell you your best hitter should hit second because they get a chance to come up potentially one more time. And I know it doesn't sound like a big difference between second and third, but that fit that bat is the one you're kind of looking for later in the game where that 2-hole hitter gets a chance to come up. But I think for Vladdy, I'm looking at the numbers on the TV screen right now. 088 over his last 9 games, 200 on base percentage, 288 OPS, and probably the most concerning is the 15 groundouts. Well, equally as concerning is the on base percentage is low too. We've seen Vladdy go through periods of time where he struggles a little bit and he's not hitting the ball extremely hard. He's not getting the ball in the air a ton. Typically, he would take his walks. Right now, it just seems like and you alluded to it before the show, is normally he's very confident in his ability and he's very proactive when he answers questions in the media talking about, I'm fine, I'm going to get it dialed. He admitted yesterday he was a little bit lost, that he feels, I think, quote unquote, was terrible, right? So there is a level of concern to it, but once again, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., as great as he is, he's a human being. Players struggle. They go through things mechanically, physically, mentally, emotionally. Maybe it's all of the above for him right now. So I think John Schneider's probably just going out and, like I said, hitting third is so mental where you feel like you have to be the guy. And I know he's come out and said he needs to feel like I need to be the guy. He has the weight of the world on his shoulders. And maybe him moving up one spot where, the number 2 hitter is more of like a table setter, get on base. Hopefully the leadoff guy gets on. You can shoot that 4-hole behind him. Hopefully this is a way that he starts getting going, because when Vladdy's at his best, he is just hitting the ball, as Caleb told us. He's hitting the ball to right center field. He's hitting these line drives, and then eventually the power comes. He needs to get back to not feeling like he has to carry the team. Just be a good hitter, take your hits the other way, move the runners over, and then I think that snowball effect is going to happen for him.
Yeah, for me, I think it's a combination of the team not doing well and everything's getting, so under a microscope, so hard on him right now. You look at a team like the Padres, Tatis, not even being able to hit a home run, but they're in first place or battling for first place.
Machado too.
Yeah,
I think between Machado, Jackson Merrill, and Tatis, I think they have under a 700 OPS, but they're winning games. No one's talking about it.
Exactly. And I think that's a combination, right? I think you start thinking like, man, I want to put this team on my back and I want to carry this team and I want to be the guy. Rightfully so. He should feel like that. He is the team leader of this organization. But at the same time, I think the fans also we post a lot of stuff on Bluebird Territory on Instagram, and you see some of the stuff being written, and you're just like, man, like he should stop smiling, he should stop doing this, he needs to start focusing on this, and it doesn't work like that, guys. Like, as take it from somebody who struggled in 2012, who was trying to live up to a contract, trying to make sure go out there and put on a show for the fans and make sure everyone got their money's worth, and sometimes it takes, I don't know, we've seen it with Trey Turner, for example, a few years ago in Philadelphia, where the fans just gave him a standing ovation and they felt like, oh man, like, okay, I'm relaxed. Like, I'm not trying to do too much. And then boom, the rest is history. Like, I think he took off. So I think sometimes it's just rallying behind your guy, because at the end of the day, he is the the, the cornerstone of this franchise. He is a guy that, and I'm not sitting here asking for sympathy for him. I'm sure he doesn't want that either. But at the same time, the game of baseball is supposed to be fun. And when it doesn't go your way, I'm telling you, man, KP knows this. There's sleepless nights. You might not go out and show it. You're still out there with your teammates, like laughing and talking to the guy at first base or whatever it is. You're still being you. But I think when things aren't going your way, it's like fans find a way to nitpick at that and say, "Oh man, like he shouldn't be doing this. He should be focusing on this." And we're giving him 500 million. He should. Guys, just relax a little bit. Like, again, he's human. He is going through a rough stretch. There's no doubt about it. It's no secret. And I think at times it's just, let's back off a little bit and let's just. He's gonna figure it out, and it might not happen today. Who knows when it'll happen? We've been waiting for it for almost a month and a half, 2 months into the season, but at the end of the day, I mean, as KP mentioned, he's still Vladdy and he can get going at any moment. And I know we've been saying that. We probably sound like a broken record at this point, but I still believe in him. And I think the fans should just kind of exhale a little bit and just be all right. Let's not worry about all the outside stuff that he's doing. Like, yes, he's hitting a lot of ground balls. Yes, he's doing all this, but trust me, that guy's probably working his ass off right now in that cage and trying to figure out what to do and how to be better next.
All right, I'll say it. Fans, it's not your money to spend. It's the organization. So stop crying about the $500 million. You didn't contribute to that. The team pays for it. And yes, I know you subscribe and you attend the games and stuff. And yes, that all factors in. But the team gave them the money, not you guys. The other thing I wanted to say too is baseball is difficult, man. And when things are going bad, like the best thing that you can do as a player is just try to make it fun. Like go back to when baseball was fun when you were a kid and you didn't have these expectations or this pressure or all this stuff. And I think Vladdy does a really good job of that. So when you're seeing him out there smiling, joking around with his teammates, he's trying to bring back the joy because like Ricky said, as players who had their ups and downs in their career, there's a lot of sleepless nights. There's a lot of like mental breakdowns. There's a lot of tears. There's a lot of lonely times that you spend trying to figure it out. Like this is our world, and we have our world outside of baseball, our family and stuff, but a lot of times that overshadows what we can actually do with our own wives and our kids and stuff because we're so consumed with trying to be successful that the best thing he can do is go out there and at least fake it till he makes it, right? Whether that's organic or not organic, I'm not sit here to say it's one way or the other, but if you're miserable and baseball is very difficult, like those are not a combination for finding success. You got to go out there and enjoy it and hope that the success is going to come. We know he's putting in the work. And the last thing I want to say too is, with everything that's going on with Vladdy, Springer has not been hitting either too. And I know he's been hampered by the toe and he's had the multiple of injuries and he's coming off a year where he turned back the clock a little bit, but all this responsibility of carrying the offensive load should not fall on Vladdy. Yes, he's the franchise player. He's the highest paid player on the team, and he's the face of the franchise. But what made the Blue Jays really successful last year was the sum of their parts. Obviously playoff Vladdy took off to a different, stratosphere, and that's what we expect of him. But let's not forget what George Springer did last year. We sat here and talked about him being the most valuable player on the team last year. He carried that team through the regular season, had huge moments in the postseason, and he hasn't really gotten going either. So the responsibility should kind of be shared on those two guys' backs right now. Why some of these other guys, Ernie's doing his thing. He doesn't have he hasn't been hitting for a ton of power. The OPS isn't great. His on-base percentage is never really going to be great. He's not much of a walk guy, but he's getting on base. He's hitting. He's hitting 290, right? Andres Jimenez has been great. Varsho's showing signs of what we kind of saw in spring training, using the opposite field, hitting those low liners. You don't think a bunch of those low liners he hit earlier last week kind of led to that home run he hit opposite field for the grand slam? Hendrick's been incredible. Like what a guy. Baby Melky has just lived up to the Melky hype right now. He just continues to hit. So I think Springer's got to get going too. I think when those two guys start to just get to their norm, they don't even have to be like superstar level. If they just get to like where everyone kind of expects them to be, the chips are going to start falling in place.
And again, I can speak for KP here. As players, you don't ask for sympathy from fans because we hold ourselves to a super high standard. We're at that level for a reason, and you hold yourself to the highest of standards. It's just the way it is. So when things don't go your way, obviously it's difficult to process, and you're kind of sitting there staring at the wall saying, all right, what do I need to do better? How do I get better? I mean, KP, I'm sure you sat in front of your locker, stared at your locker just with nothing on there and just looked at it, and you're just like, oh man, like this is terrible. So we feel terrible as players. Trust me, Vladdy isn't feeling good. But at the same time, let's back off and remember he's a human being. And yes, he's making a lot of money, but who cares? The guy wants to go out there and put on a show for the fans. That's without a doubt.
Mitch, I'll have to send you video to put on here at some point. That I have like so many rolls of video on my phone from 3:30 in the morning, 4:30 in the morning. I'm holding my wife's curling iron in the bathroom trying to figure out my swing. Like, that's to the level that it gets to. Like,
Yeah,
you get done with the game and you go home and you try to turn it off a little bit, and you never can really turn it off. You fall asleep and then your brain's going 1,000 miles an hour, right? Then you wake up in the middle of the night and you're like, wait, I think I got it. And then you pull out your phone, record yourself in the mirror, and I'm holding a curling iron, like trying to find my load and my move. And I'm like, then I go to the next day and I'm looking at it, and then I'm in the cage trying to be like, is this the fix? I promise you he's doing that right now.
Yeah. And I mean, I have similar stories. My wife, when I was dating her, she'd come when I was in Toronto, she'd come over and I'd be sitting there, lights off, sitting in front of the bed, just sitting there staring at the wall. And she goes, what's wrong? And I'm like, so her as a former athlete, she understood, as somebody who gone through her ups and downs, but it happens. It's real, man. We're human being. Again, we hold ourselves to a very high standard, and we want to do well for the fans, for the organization. And, let's just rally behind these guys right now. I know it's not the easiest of times, and that's just the way baseball is. Sometimes it can be cruel.
Yeah. I think, I don't know. I feel like I have my finger on the pulse of the fan base. Obviously, some people are being really hard on Vladdy right now, but I think at least a decent amount of people get that this guy just wants to be great and his swing just isn't there right now. Like, it is pretty simple as that. Like, you're just kind of waiting for it to click with him, and you're waiting for it to click with George, because Vladdy had a pretty similar start to this last year. We weren't talking about it nearly as much because George was like a top 3 hitter in the world for the first 6 weeks of the season. Like, it's other players stepping up can mask these sorts of ebbs and flows of a season. And right now, the Jays, aside from like Penango and occasionally Jimenez, like don't really have anyone hitting right now. So it makes all of these issues look a whole lot
yeah,
better. There's a lot of 2-1 games.
And I think the challenge that maybe people don't fully understand in baseball is you get those 4 at-bats a night, maybe 5 at-bats a night, and it's like if you don't have it, it's really hard to produce at this level, right? You can get away with some hand-eye coordination, competitiveness, right? But baseball is a sport where like you're really defined by like those 4 or 5 at-bats. And occasionally, and you can't control what you do on defense. You might not get an opportunity to go out and make a play. Like for myself who played, center field, when I wasn't doing well offensively, like I was praying I could go like change the game defensively. It's not like football where like, man, I'm struggling catching the ball. At least I could just go hit someone, right? Or I could go tackle someone or like do something. Basketball, you go set screens. Like baseball is very isolated to like you get these 4 at-bats a day. And when you don't have it, it is so hard. You have to like rely on competing, and like competition is only going to get you so far. Like you have to have like the skill set, the confidence, the mechanics, the moves, the timing in order to be successful in this game.
Makes sense.
It's a shitty sport. It really is.
But we love it.
But we love it.
You got to be a little crazy to play. You got to be a little crazy to play because, I don't even know what the league average is right now hitting. Let's say it's 280, right? Because 300 used to kind of be like that standard of like success. It's probably even lower than that. It's probably like 270, right? So we're
Oh,
talking
I bet
about
it's
like
lower
this
than that.
extremely high failure rate in order for you to be quote unquote successful. Like you're just failing over and over again, and you're hoping that maybe 27% of the time I'm successful. Like what? There's no other industry. There's no other industry that you would ever sign up for or be like, if I'm a 27% successful, you're a great player. You're great at what you do.
Professional lottery player. If you got a hit right like that in the lottery,
Yeah.
you'd be doing pretty good. But that's
I
maybe
mean,
about it.
If Ricky was getting 27% of the hitters out he faced, it wouldn't be very good, right?
No.
It's true.
Pitcher, that's a different ball game. Like,
Yeah.
it's a crazy sport, but we love it. You have to be a little bit crazy to do it.
Yep. We on that we will go from probably the first guy on the roster to the new 26th man on the roster. The Jays made a move, and we will talk about it on the other side of this quick break.
Baseball season is back, and it's a great time to drink a cold Miller Lite.
It's the perfect time to watch a game with some friends and drink a cold Miller Lite.
It's got that great taste, and it's just 90 calories in a 355 milliliter can. For all my fellow Canadians, Miller Lite is the official beer of baseball in Canada, so why not go grab some Miller Lites today? Because your game time is Miller time. Must be legal drinking age. Celebrate responsibly. All right, fellas. I am kind of surprised it took until May 17th for the Jays to bring up Adam Macko, but he is finally here. Tommy Nance goes on the injured list with a forearm soreness. Macko, he's a guy who I think we spent like at maybe as much as anybody talking about him in spring training. He's built up to 30, 35 pitches, can give him 2 innings, got a 4.5 ERA in AAA. Is another lefty in the pen, which I think is kind of interesting. Ricky, you watched a lot of this guy at the WBC in spring. What do you think about Adam coming up to the big leagues for the first time?
I like it, man. I've been excited. I know we spent some time talking about him in spring training, and he was flashing 93, 95, 96 with the fastball. And you know what? You knew it was bound to happen with the bullpen. Somebody was going to break down, and that's just the way it is. But as far as him and his arsenal, I really like the way he attacked hitters in spring training. And I think the biggest knock on him was, can he throw enough strikes at the big league level? And it seems like he's hopefully cleaned that up. And what great way to put on a jersey for the country you're from. And so. Yeah, I think the fastball is really good. The breaking ball looked good in spring training. This is a guy that has an interesting story. I think he's from Slovakia,
Yeah.
something like. Yeah, so it's crazy. I read his story about the way he was introduced to baseball and all that stuff. So I'm looking forward to it. Again, a lefty out of the pen. Does that make 3 lefties now?
Yeah,
That might
Fluharty, Mantiply, and him.
that. I don't think very many bullpens have 3 lefties in their bullpen. So, yeah, again, this is a guy that's coming in with some prospect ratings, and I'm just looking forward to see what he can do. And this is almost like it can be an audition for him to be able to stick with the club if he comes out and does his job. Again, this is a team that relies on their bullpen a lot, being the way things have gone for them. So you hope that him being built up, he's healthy enough to go out there. I was reading the stuff that he was saying to Hazel about how he was worried about or Keegan maybe, or his interview this morning, that he didn't have a collared shirt, KP, so he was like scrambling to go find a collared shirt. So I know that feeling of young guys always struggling to make sure they make a good first impression. So I'm looking forward to it. I really am. I know there isn't much tape that we have to build off of, but hopefully once he gets into games, we can dissect him a little more and see if he's able to stick to what got to what he was successful in spring training. I think a lot of the times he was attacking hitters, putting them away, and he carried that into the WBC. So you just hope that he carries that same magic into the Toronto Blue Jay bullpen.
Yeah, he has 2 options. Either he borrowed a collared shirt from a teammate, and hopefully that's what he did, because most teams stay in Birmingham, and there's no Nordstrom Rack or Macy's or anything. Birmingham has got some expensive boutique stores there. So if a teammate didn't pick him up, he got an introduction to the big leagues real quick of opening up that wallet and swiping that credit card for a college shirt, because they don't come cheap in Birmingham. But yeah, Ricky touched on him. Ricky was really high on what he saw in spring training, and I guess I'm not surprised that it took so long, just because the bullpen has been so good. Aside from Brandon Little early in the year, which was almost kind of forgotten a little bit because that change happened so quick. But the bullpen's been so good, there really hasn't been a need for change with those guys in the bullpen. But we've sat here and talked about, the starters not going deep into games. And obviously Dylan Cease has made us shut up about him going deep into games, what he's been able to do his last 3 starts. Kevin Gosman. And, we didn't touch on this though, but what makes him, such a valuable pitcher and a true ace of your team is what he did a couple of starts ago when he gave up a bunch of those runs early in the game. And then he still goes out there, throws his 100 pitches, gets you into the 6th inning. Like, a lot of guys kind of fold in that moment, and true aces want out of that game. They've given up 5. They don't have their best stuff. That's a 3 and dive, and then you have the bullpen eating up those innings. For him to go out there and just continue to be a workhorse, even though he didn't have his best stuff and he got touched around early in the game, is what makes him an ace and what makes him so valuable. But just excited to see what he can do. I don't know if he's the first ever Slovakian to pitch in the big leagues, but I can't imagine there's a ton of them. We'll have to do some. Unfortunately, we don't have a instantaneous research department on hand right now. But yeah, I love when you get guys making their major league debut, especially guys that have been prospects that have taken maybe a little bit longer to kind of put themselves in a position to find success in the upper minor leagues. Really, he's always had the stuff. It's about the command for him, and he showed that. Pitching for Canada in the WBC, he showed it in his short time in spring training. And like Ricky said, there's an audition for him to go out there and win a spot in the bullpen. With him being able to be stretched out to that 30, maybe even 40 pitch range. Look for him to get, introduced to the big leagues at, maybe like a left on left matchup, maybe like a get out of an inning, start an inning fresh. And maybe this is a guy you see opening games, before Spencer Miles. Maybe he can have the lineup situated where it's a ton of right-handed hitters, because he's going to go, 1+ maybe 2 innings. And then, Miles has been unbelievable. We talked about,
yes.
can he start? Does he have maybe a little shorter leash in terms of how much they ramp him up because of his injury history and the lack of innings he's pitched in the minor leagues? But he's looking every bit as capable of being this team's 5th starter. It makes the Barrios news a little bit easier to swallow. It makes losing Eric Lauer a little bit easier to swallow, because he's been outstanding. So hopefully Macko could come up and surprise a lot of people, pitch up to his potential, and then maybe we're looking at those 2 guys, piggybacking each other for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, I like that a lot, because like they lose some length in Miles going to the rotation, let's call it, but then you bring in Yariel, who can go 2 innings, and you bring in Macko. That's a lefty and righty who you can it makes those bullpen games every 5th day, or if you even want to call them bullpen games, like a guy in a bulk games, makes them work a little better, because you have lefty and righty options who can help you soak up innings. Yeah. But that's a good point on Barrios as well, Kevin. We forgot to mention that. Go ahead, Ricky.
Did you see the way what Casey Candle said to Adam Macko?
He's got a new story for every single guy. I don't know how Casey comes up with these things.
I'll read it. Hazel tweeted about it. She said Macko said he received an unexpected call from Casey Candle. Casey said he wanted to talk to him about the 2 burgers he took instead of 1, and that the coaches didn't get to eat. Macko said he felt really bad about it. That's when Candle ended his bit and gave him the news that he was going to the big leagues.
Every guy who comes up, they're like, because we know Casey, and every minor league manager has these.
He's
these
the best.
They do.
The best.
He's got a new one for every guy. He's got to just, at the beginning of every season, just like fill a notebook, being like, all right, 25th guy that's going up, I'm gonna get him with this one. I'm gonna get him with this one.
He's the best.
He's got endless bits.
Sounds like a book that he may have to write.
I'll write Casey Candle's book. Oh yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah. It's good. I mean, that's a pretty good. Imagine sitting there like getting in trouble for taking 2 burgers. I can't imagine that. That's great.
Exactly. All right. So yeah, just if no one saw, Jose Barrios is going for a surgery on Wednesday. I think we don't know exactly what it is. It's going to fix the bone bruise. Ideally, could be some other stuff. Maybe we can hit on that more in depth when you know exactly the recovery timeline, what the specifics of the surgery are. But before we do that, we should preview this Yankees series a little quickly, and we'll do that on the other side of this quick break.
We love our dog Bella, who splays out in the open sun on our floor like she's an underwear model, and that's why we love her so much, to scratch her belly.
She's a cutie, that Bella. And a quick message from today's sponsor, the ASPCA Pet Health Insurance Program. If you're frantically looking for what to do with your pup when they have an issue, the program offers customizable accident and illness plans, making it easier to get your pet the care they need. When you enroll in an ASPCA Pet Health Insurance plan, you could get a $25 Amazon gift card. It's a little treat for you while you're doing something great for your pet. To explore coverage, visit aspcapetinsurance.com/FOUL. That's aspcapetinsurance.com/FOUL. Eligibility restrictions apply. Visit aspcapetinsurance.com/Amazon terms for more info. This is a paid advertisement. Insurance is underwritten by either Independence American Insurance Company or United States Fire Insurance Company and produced by PTZ Insurance Agency Limited. The ASPCA is not an insurer and is not engaged in the business of insurance.
All right, fellas, this is going to be our Bet365 deep dive. And it's going to be about the Jays' first series of the season at Yankee Stadium. I'll read off the pitching matchups. You guys can take this wherever you want to. This is obviously a matchup that the Jays dominated last year. It's a big reason, maybe the reason that they ended up winning the division with that tiebreaker at the end. It's the first meeting. It's at New York. It is Patrick Corbin versus Ryan Weathers, Dylan Cease versus Will Warren, Trey Savage versus Cam Schlittler. Star that one. That's going to be a game to watch. And then Spencer Miles / bullpen game versus Carlos Rodon at the end there. Kevin, we'll start with you. What are you looking for the Jays' first trip to Yankee Stadium this year?
Just see it as a little bit of a barometer. I know things haven't been going well for the Blue Jays, but it's an opportunity to play the team leading in the division, a team that's been playing really good. I know they've kind of struggled a little bit recently, but they're still leading the division. They're still the Yankees. They're playing really good ball. Catch a little bit of break with Max Fried being out, and I don't know if he would have slotted in this time through the rotation.
He would have, yeah.
He would have slotted in, so catch a little bit of break there, and obviously the Blue Jays could use a little bit of a break because they've had the injury bug themselves, but I think it's just a good time for them to show up. You know, hopefully, I know we're talking about this preview as this game's about to start. Hopefully they get a win today against Detroit, have a little bit of momentum going in. You know, not a long travel day, get your rest, and then, you know, you're playing in the bright lights in New York. It's time to this could kind of be just a kind of a defining moment in their season. You know, we talked about the Varsho home run is hopefully what do you call it? Like a stepping stone towards them turning their season around, a spark, a stepping stone, however you would put that. But, you know, this is a time when records don't matter. You know, whether you're playing good baseball, bad baseball, in third place in the division, first place in the division, these are two bitter rivals. These are two alpha teams. These are two teams that were in the postseason last year. This is a team that matched up in the postseason last year. And obviously the Yankees have every right to have this circled on their calendar because of what happened in the DS last year. So it's going to be an electric atmosphere. There's no better place to play than New York. Yankees are playing good ball. Blue Jays are starting. They're still treading water a little bit, but hopefully this is a time where you can look yourself in the mirror and be like, hey, record don't matter. This is the Yankees. It's the Blue Jays. Let's get it on. And hopefully this is a series they can go in and win 3 out of 4. You know, you gain a little bit of ground in the standings. More importantly, you gain some confidence. You still – even at this point, no matter where you're at in the standings, the Blue Jays are still the team to beat. Until they are beaten at the end of 162, they are still the teams in the American League are chasing. So they need to go in with that attitude that, you know, we're still the alphas. I know the standings don't show that, but we won this division last year. We're the defending AL American League champions, and we got to go and improve it.
Yeah, for me, I think Yankee fans, Yankee players have been waiting for this series to happen. And the fact that they get not just 3 games, they get 4 games is going to be big. And for me, the way I see it is we talk a lot about winning series. And this is a series you want to win because this is a time to kind of gain some ground and start chipping away against a team like the New York Yankees. Obviously, we know that the Toronto Blue Jays are chasing this team and the Tampa Bay Rays, but you want to win those in-division games, and they have the right guys going for them. I can't wait for the Savage matchup. That's going to be a really good one. Two young guys and Cam going at it. Everything about it, like KP said, it's the bright lights of New York, man. I mean, it just brings out the best in you. We know what Vladdy has done there. We know the whole clip of him saying the Yankees lose last season after the DS series. So all that stuff is in the back of the mind of the New York Yankees, the players, the organization, the fans. So I'm sure it's going to be a little big time hostile environment for them. But I feel like when you're an opposing player and you walk into that stadium and you get to shut 50,000 people up, it feels damn good. And this is from somebody who was able to throw a complete game there, and it wasn't anything meaningful, but it meant a lot to me, especially going there. It just always brings out the best in you as a player. I'm not saying not any other stadium doesn't, but there is just, it's the nostalgic of the Yankees, the pinstripes and all that, and you just want to go in there and kick their ass. So I'm sure the Toronto Blue Jays are going to be up for the challenge. And like Hippie said, this is the time where you look in the mirror and you're like, all right, let's go, strap it on with the big boys of the AL East. And I'm really looking forward to this matchup. And it's going to be fun.
Sorry.
Go ahead. No,
go ahead. I was just going to say it's a wake up call because the Blue Jays missed the opportunity early in the year with kind of a softer schedule. They kind of were sleepwalking through the season and got off to a slow start, and and then the injury bug came, and it's just been treading water, and then you go into this hostile environment and, they're going to introduce the starting lineups, and every single one of those players is going to get booed. And that is going to be this wake-up call. Like, this is going to be this jolt of energy that this team has needed. We've been talking about, needing that moment, and we thought maybe that Barsha homer was that moment, right? But when you go into Yankee Stadium and every one of your players gets booed, and no one is going to get booed louder than Vladimir Guerrero Jr., you want a little shot of adrenaline, you want a little lightning rod, you want a little cow prong to the backside to, wake you up a little bit. Maybe Vladdy's been just a sleeping giant needing to be woken up. And you hope today in Detroit, he can find a little bit of confidence and some rhythm. But going into that series, you're poking the bears. And at least that's what I hope happens, right? It's one of two things is going to happen. The Blue Jays are going to get woken up by this hostile environment, these boos. Hopefully George Springer's going to get booed really loud too. And hopefully they poke the bear, they wake up. Or we're going to find out a lot about the Blue Jays in this series. Maybe they don't wake up and they get steamrolled and they are who we hope they aren't, but I think this is going to be a very telling series of the type of character this team has, this type of resilience, this type of fight that we've seen out of this team. We just haven't seen a lot of it this year.
Yep. I think you guys nailed it. I don't have anything else to add. That's probably, I would have said what you guys said a little less eloquently. And so I will shut down this Bet365 deep dive. Baseball fans, there's nothing better than a day at the ballpark, but there's nothing worse than waiting in long lines around the ballpark. That's why Bet365 has a 5-run early payout. When the team you're riding goes up 5 runs at any point in the game, they'll pay your bet out right then and there, win or lose. No waiting required. Besides, the earlier you get paid, the earlier you can go back for another hot dog. Bet365. Download the app and see what early payout's all about. Must be 19 or older, Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit ConnexOntario.ca. Terms and conditions apply. All right, one last thing, fellas, and we kind of alluded to it there, but Vladimir Guerrero Jr., 48 games at Yankee Stadium, sent .310, 16 home runs, and 1,000 OPS. I think this... You mentioned the sleeping bear, the giant, the sleeping giant that this could be. I talked to Dave Popkins last week, and I didn't ask him about coming to New York. I was just talking to him about Vladdy, and he gave a quote that I'm going to read now. I thought I had it downloaded, but I did not. He said, because I was talking to, Vladdy had said a couple days earlier that he was feeling the pressure. And I asked Pop, we've seen this guy feel no pressure on baseball's biggest stage. What is it about kind of this moment right now where he is feeling the pressure? And he said, actually, when he's under the most pressure, when we go to New York or in the playoffs, it kind of gets him out of his own head. It's not about getting certain numbers or getting certain home runs. It's just, I'm going to go compete. I'm built for these pressure moments. He just lets himself flow. So maybe the pressure of the day-to-day, having to carry this lineup, is what's really weighing on Vladdy now. Put him in Yankee Stadium, get everyone booing him. Like you guys mentioned, it could be a bit of a wake-up for Vladdy. So that is what I wanted to leave this podcast on.
Well,
Just,
I think
we'll
that
see.
I think that just kind of, hammers home what Ricky said. Like, us as athletes, we have so much internal pressure on ourselves to perform. No one is going to ever put more pressure on ourselves than we do as athletes. We want to be great. We care about it so deeply. And then you go into this environment in Yankee Stadium, and then you really start to feel the external pressure. And I think it allows him to not feel the own internal pressure. He hears the noise, and I think that's what settles him down.
Yeah, I agree. This is his moment. He's been on record saying he hates the Yankees. He'd never sign there, and all this stuff. I love it, man. This is his stage, and hopefully they can come out of Detroit with a win today and win that series, and then get to feeling good. Who knows? I mean, maybe he goes 2 for 3, 3 for 5, whatever it is, and it gets him going into that big Yankee series.
So lastly, for all of our Yankee fans that listen, make sure we boo Vladdy really loud, right? Because
Do you think we have Yankees fans who listen to this? I don't know.
He hates it. Yeah, we got 20 Yankee fans. For our Yankee fans, make sure you boo him loud because he hates it.
They must be hate watching if they're watching us
Yeah.
at all. But we'll see. We will see. I will be in New York. I will be gauging the boos. Maybe I'll pull out like a decimeter or whatever to measure the audio, and I'll report back. But thanks everyone for listening to this episode of Blue Bird Territory.
If you made it this far, you'll love this next video. Check it out right here. And make sure you've subscribed to Blue Bird Territory for more Jays coverage like this multiple times a week.